As much as I would love to three bet this hand, we're against a pretty tight opener. I mean, he's opening 20% from the cutoff, which is pretty low. The other thing is that I want to invite the big blind into the pot. Instead of isolating myself against a pretty conservative range, I can flat invite the big blind in and potentially make some money off him post flop. Thank you, by the way, everyone, for tuning in to my channel. I do pot limit Omaha videos. Pretty much that's it. Okay, so we get 3-bet. And I'm just going to peel here. Bottom two. We're going to go with the hand SPR of 1 backdoor diamonds. And let's see what we're up against here. Oof. Oof. We're dodging a lot. We do have 36%. Unfortunately, we don't win. Bottom two here, blind versus blind. Limited pot. Boat up on the river. Life is sweet. And, I mean, what can he have here except a flush? Ace X, maybe. Interesting spot. So, I'm going to 3-bet, I guess. I can't really rep too much on that flop. So I'm just going to check give up. I was a little reluctant to 3-bet because villain stats didn't have a ton of pre-flop aggression, but over 24 hands, so you can't really draw many conclusions on that basis. Here's flop, little set. I'm feeling a hero call. Like, we got the 10 of spades, we're blocking the straight, we're blocking the flush. I feel like he's gonna peel so many non-flush draws on the flop. Okay. Well, so much for that theory. Ace King 5-3, double suited in what is essentially middle position here. Gonna raise it up. Yes, our suits are the wrong way. Still, this is more than enough for an MP open. I think this is a good spot to see bet. We got a lot of backdoors. We've got a gut shot. We've got a pair. So we've got enough going on where we can bet the flop. Not even as a bluff, I guess more as a semi-bluff or a marginal holding bet, whatever. But if we get raised, we have no problem folding. I think that's just a good spot where you can implement some aggression, pick up some pots here and there. Okay. Interesting spot here. This is the same guy that we played the last two hands versus. We've proven him twice. So, might as well 3-bet him again. Half pot, C-bet. Not really a great flop for us. The turn. Okay. All right, we take it down. I'm happy with that. The turn, I was going to say, not a great card for us, but a very dangerous card for our opponent. Obviously, we can make top set, three bet pot, we three bet, we can make aces up. So it's a good card to bet in that we don't have to fear the check raise too much. And I think in general at these stakes, by the way, we're playing PLO 25 today, 3 tables PLO 25, 1 table PLO 10. I think at these stakes, you really want to err, and really in poker in general, but at these stakes, you really want to err on the side of aggression. Your opponents are definitely not going to be semi-bluffing you enough, which is the best counter to aggression. So you can really take advantage of that and go for some more aggressive lines. Like in that last hand, we don't really connect with the board that well. We don't really block that much. Um, but we can take an aggressive line and offer ourselves multiple winning chances in doing so. So this hand, we defend free after button open, tight button open, small blind flat. And we've got a bit of something here. We've got top pair and a 10-eye flush draw. But it's definitely not a spot where we want to try to stack off. Certainly not multi-way. We end up backdooring a second nuts. So we go for some value here, half pot. And take it down, which is fine. Very nice aces here on the button. Gonna go ahead and raise it up. Just great connectivity and nut suit. Everything. We even have the button. This is just such a great situation to be in. King Jack 10 8 in MP. Raising it up. Happy to take the blinds. These guys are pretty tight. They might fold. This is really not a very exciting table. A lot of tight players. Gonna have to see if I can find a softer game to replace it with. We got some chat here. Am I on YouTube? You must be a loyal viewer. All right, shout out to Lagoa 2002, very tight player. I love the RP roleplay. Maybe he's talking about Reddit poker. He says it's more fun there. Reddit poker, RP. Ace, Jack 9, single suited on the button. This is a much better table. Small blind, flats. Really bad flop. We do have the Jack, which blocks his top set combos, and the 9, which block some of his drawing combos like 9, 8, 10. But we don't have any hearts. We don't have any backdoors really. And that's really small. But I think we're still just going to fold. Meanwhile, we turn the nuts for free here. Tiny little pot. We get a call. And then he pots the river. I guess we're just going to fold. Like, he doesn't really have any natural bluffs. Maybe 8, 9. 8, 9. If he had a lower straight, this wouldn't make sense. Um, and just based on the stats, which it just screams value betting. Screams like he's value betting. We got some more chat here from the Goa. Says half pot GTO, right? Because I see what half pot in the top two. By the way, here's a game selection tip. Um, so I was playing 3 tables of 25, 1 table of PLO 10. And if you've been playing on PokerStars, you'll know that they implemented a system which I think Ignition or Bodog or Bovada, whatever they call it these days. I think they were the first to implement it, but you can't like actually select individual tables. If you want to play, you just join like a pool, and then it seats you. So this can be kind of annoying if you're trying to game select and find some fish because you leave a table and then you join back and it just seats you on the same table, right? So I was playing 3 tables of 25 and 1 table of 10, and 2 of my 25 games died. Like there's no action. So what I did was I left them. I'm still in 1 table 25, 1 table 10, and I just joined 2 tables PLO 10. So that way, there's no chance I rejoin the 25 games. I get a new table, and usually lower stakes games tend to be a little softer than higher stakes games. So good in both ways. The other thing you can do is just sit out of the game, right? So I could have just sat out of those 225 tables I didn't want to play anymore, and then I could join 2 more 25 tables. And then once I'm at the new tables, then I leave the games where I was sitting out. And so what that does is it gets you to other tables, not the table that you're leaving or the tables you're trying to avoid. So even though even with PokerStars new, or I don't know how new it is now, but even with their system set up as it is, where you can't join individual tables, you have to join a pool for the whole limit. There are still some things you can do to game select. Okay. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. 100 big blinds deep, I would peel this, I think, against the net. This guy's got ultra nitty stats, including 0 for 9 against steel. Um, We got some more chat here. Philippines, hot like the sun, wet like the rain. You guys are quite chatty. It's nice to see some chat. Actually, I'm always a fan of chatting in the chat box, of having online poker be a bit more of a social experience. Though, don't want to chat too much. Actually, Tommy Angelo advises against talking at the poker table in one of his books. He's got 3 books now. Um, Elements of Poker. I don't know. Anyway, one of his books he recommends against talking at the poker table, which I think is good advice. Uh, Although he mentions, somebody says something to you, you should respond to them. Otherwise, you're rude. You don't want to be rude. But it's good to avoid talking at the table so that you can think at the table. I'm not sure if that's what he says. That's yeah, I think that's the reason why it's hard to think when you're talking. I think I'm just gonna pass here. Like, there's so many bad river cards. We're trapped in the middle. This guy's a nit, so what the heck is he betting on? Seems absurd to pass aces and eights for 70 cents. The guy's super passive, only 21% aggression, which that seems really low. That says to me, he's a guy who bets. He's a cinch player. He's a guy who bets when he's got a strong hand, you know, which is basically what I am, for that matter. Okay, C bet here. Aces in a gut shot. The 7 there actually kind of a nice way to choose what aces you check, what aces you bet. The 7's got some removal effect or draws. Like the flop was Jack 10-6, right? So we have ace ace king 7. The 7's not really doing us any good. Like you can never really use it for anything. Can't make 2 pair with it, for example. Well, you could. You'd have to go king 7 though. But it does have some use in terms of enlarging our opponent's folding range, because the 7 can make some good hands like queen 10-9-7. No. Uh well, I guess it could make like 7-8, 4-4-6. It would be a gut shot in that scenario. Um, yeah. Ignore that. Cancel that. Scratch that. Edit that out. Ah, that's a shame. Definitely have to fold now. You see, well, for one, this hand's not that good, and we're facing a big raise. The other thing is, because these 2 guys limped in, the whole table acts after us, and any one of them can do what John Silver did, and and raise big time. And then, so we definitely could have overlimped behind the two loose limpers. Our hand has some potential, not like a ton of potential. Actually, it would have made nines full and scooped everybody, but this hand's much better. Double suited, good connectivity, reasonable high card strength. It's a little bit middling on the high card strength, but really a powerful hand and one that's going to push a lot of equity specifically against these loose calling ranges. But the flop is not a spot where I think we want to just raise commit necessarily. We've only got a 10-eye flush draw, so we really run the risk of getting it in really bad here on the flop. Uh, Although, as it turns out, it probably would have been a decent play against our exact holdings. But I think that I was right to make the more passive or cautious approach there, see what else is going on. Top pair 10-eye flush draw in a four-way pot, I think, is a hand that can definitely look better than it is. It's a great hand in Hold'em in Omaha. Even one player can have you beat on both the pair and the draw quite easily. Nothing we can do here. Four-way, still lots of money we bet. We've got a bit of a holding, aces with a nut gut shot, but it's not a hand that can stand this type of action, with especially with two players behind us. Again, either could raise. Um, Sometimes when you have like the nut flush draw, you don't really mind. If somebody raises behind, you get it in multi-way, it's going to be fine. But that is not the case there. And obviously, you can't draw to our straight. We do still have some value with the aces uh, combined with the gut shot. I mean, we do dominate draws. So there's something there. Um, but, I think fold was the correct way. We open it up. Kind of cute hand here, 6-6-4-4. Three-way. I think we can go ahead and check. And just fold the turn. We're nowhere near calling him with sixes. Probably he's got kings or aces, I would imagine. Maybe a bluff. Probably kings or aces. Speaking of aces, picking them up in a big blind here, nut suit. A couple short stack limpers. Definitely going to go for maximum action. And kind of marginal flop. It's a spot where I want to bet, but I really can't. Now, it's tempting to just stick it in here. I mean, we don't need that much equity because we are getting almost 2-1. But this guy's so passive. 15% bet, 15% post flop aggression, over 58 hands. I just I feel like he would even check, some pretty strong hands like Queen Jack 10 with Jack High diamonds. Like I think actually our equity is going to be so low. Maybe he's getting a little more aggressive because he's so short. But I find these guys actually don't mind like finding really passive lines even in SBR situations. Aces here. Well, gotta raise it up. These are not so bad aces. We get on that suit. We do have good connectivity. We are sort of working the wheel, working the wheel side of things. Here, so it is a squeeze. But we have pretty good hand structure. This guy's going to come along a lot. He actually just sticks it in. Not great. With 40 dead, yes, I'll just go. End up, he's got queens also. Well, we tie for the side. We got aces on the 30 big blind stack here. Smash top set. Very dynamic board. Villain on the draw. Well, hopefully made hearts or something. Probably not. Oh, we get the call. We get the call. Decent sized pot. We have, and he ended up. Oh wow! He hero called with King Jack. Suggest like middle pair, but he actually had enough flush draw and a gut shot. So kind of a shame. He should just stack off on the flop, given how shallow stacks are and how massive his hand is. Yeah, it's another annoying spot here. I mean, this is going to be like 6 high hearts all day. Where did I put the last one? Enjoying these many stack sizes. All right. We raise it up and take it down. Meanwhile, turning the nuts. All right, we flat pre here. Double suited kings against Lagoa, who was chatting with us earlier. Ooh, wow. He puts in the check raise. Yeah, I'm actually just going to call. Disgusting river. Very happy I just called at this point. It's looking like he had. I'm going to fold here. So when he check raises the turn, he's got to have the nuts most of the time, right? Like 8-7 is the hand you put him on. I mean, I can just put it in myself on the turn because I've got the hearts and also I have a wrap. But my wrap is basically not worth very much because like he's got it, I've got it. Trying a deep check raise here. What was the pre-flop action? I called pre. Unsuccessful on the deep check raise. Here we call it pre as well. And I'm actually just going to fold here. Such a shame. Those are queens. Blind on blind. I'm going to try a 3-bet. This guy's been raising liberally. Pretty good flop here. A gut shot. Flush draw. Backdoor flush draw. Overpair. Alright, we go ahead and 3-bet again. Massive hand. I think we can check raise here. Well, maybe that was unwise. Villain seems kind of passive. That's a great river, though. We're gonna get paid off like always with our line too. No, maybe not. Maybe not. I thought we would, but we did not. These hands are always fun. Double suited, double paired hands. Nobody ever sees it coming. Definitely gonna raise. A lot of potential in this hand. A lot of spicy sets to smash. A lot of jack high flush draws to check fold. Just getting up on the flop, 3-way against players that don't like to fold and don't have a ton back either. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put in the 3-bet here against a pretty aggressive opener. I like my hand. We get a hitchhiker and not in love with this the diamonds here, but ooh, okay, wow. All right, can we actually win? That 4 does not look like a good card for me, but what did he cold call with there? With like deuce deuce? Was he was on, yeah, double suited twos. Actually flopped like quite a lot. He was favored. Deuce deuce 4-7. That is not a great cold call, in my opinion. Should fold that hand. Technically, I think queen queen 4-4 rainbow under the gun is a fold, but I live life on the wild side. Sometimes I make marginally minus EV opens, and I don't care who knows it. All right. In MP, with a pretty juicy hand, King 975. Flop top and bottom, which is always tricky to navigate in a multi-way pot. I'm not really looking for any action here, but on the other hand, I don't want to give a free card to the field. Here's the problem on the turn. My clubs are 7 high, so can I really pay to chase a 7 high flush draw? Like, we know 8 cards, so there's 44 left. Of those 44, how many outs do I have? 8 plus 4, 12, 44 to 32, 32 to 12. So I'm like 2.5 to 1 against improving. But in PLO, you need to be so careful about chasing non-nut draws, because there's nothing worse than calling, hitting your hand, and still losing, and losing more money. That's just an awful experience. So there's no reason why my opponent couldn't have higher clubs, in which case a break-even call becomes massively unprofitable. In fact, this situation is so dangerous that even a relatively small probability of that happening, like a 10 or 20% probability, is enough to swing that from a call to a fold. If I had, and even my full house outs, by the way, aren't nut, which is another thing that you do need to take into account in PLO. It is not every full house out is equivalent. So there's a big difference between making kings full and making, like, if you have pocket kings on a 5 turn, and making 5 jack on a 5 turn. Here we make ace 10, a straight, pots it, which is a weird line. Like, check the flop, pot the turn. But at the same time, I don't really want to call down another pot-sized bet with a hand that can so easily be drawing dead. I'd much rather have, like, a hand like top set, where maybe I'm good, maybe I improve, maybe I hit the river and get paid off with a big raise. Really interesting hand here, I think, on the table. We've got a double flush draw, and we break out, but 2 non-nut flushes, non-nut flush draws in a 4-way pot, like, it's really easy to get excited by the double flush draw, but a lot of the time, one of the flush draws will be dead, if not both. Specifically in a 4-way pot. Alright, thank you everyone who tuned in. I hope you enjoyed my video. Please like, subscribe, comment, and come check out more of my stuff. Thank you for tuning in.